Hey, don't lie to me. You went to see the Demon Slayer movie, Infinity Castle, didn't you?
Yeah.
I knew it. That hoe was lit, wasn't it? It was lit, wasn't it? Ah!
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
I read the manga, and I watched the show, and I watched the movies. Demon Slayer has always showed their characters with some supreme power. But today, apparently, power in Demon Slayer makes no sense. Today's video, we gonna be reacting to Demon Slayer power levels make no sense. Until they do. An in-depth analysis of Demon Slayer power levels? Okay, let's see what Mr. Detective here has got to show us. Put the evidence on the table, Mr. Man.
Perfect.
How does the Demon Slayer Corps continue to function when most of its swordsmen can barely fight a no-name demon, let alone kill it? These are all people who passed the final selection, so why do they behave like they've never held a weapon before? No wonder Japan doesn't recognize them, because I also wouldn't want to be associated with such failures. Hello comrade, my name is Mahis. Come, get yourself a beverage and sit down with me. We got an employee evaluation to conduct. Before I start tearing them a new one in their performance department, let me quickly say, what are those? I somehow totally overlooked their footwear during my analysis of their uniforms in the previous video, and I have to come back to it because it's one of the least practical pieces of combat-ready clothing I've seen in a while. Take Tanjiro's training with the boulder. The show itself suggests that a sole tied around the foot with a strip of cloth can fail if you start slipping a bit. How are you supposed to fight on varying, sometimes difficult terrain at high speeds if your shoes can't survive a moderate amount of friction?
A lot of they shoes should have tore the hell up, especially Zenitsu's. He be going at the speed of thunder. He should have went through about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's in his bank account.
The answer is you can't, as you're literally better off barefoot, since that way you don't have a difference of friction between ground sole and sole sock. And don't even get me started on the exposed toes. I know Kishimoto has a thing for it, but here you can't even see them, so yeah. Why is Kanao the only one wearing boots perfectly suited for her line of work, while the rest are rolling with the safety hazard sandals? If even Muzan, who hates changes, chose to wear modern sophisticated shoes over traditional, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, a small rant done, now on to the big one. The Slayer's job and how well it's done. Firstly, let's try to figure out some numbers.
Okay. We on to the next case of evidence.
Don't worry, I'll handle the scary math and you just take a deep breath, it'll be over somewhat soon. What is the size of the core? According to Orokodaki, it's in the hundreds, meaning somewhere between 200 and 1000. But I'm not seeing more than a few dozen Slayers participating in the Hashira training, which makes me think that a good chunk of these hundreds of people are from other parts of the organization. On the other hand, we haven't seen all Slayers taking part in this activity, as there is at least one, potentially two non-canon girls demon hunting somewhere. And looking at later chapters, there are far more Slayers than we've ever seen.
Right.
So, let's make an assumption that
Hey, Rimuru, what's up, my boy?
there is a total of a few hundred of them. But what about demons? They are much harder to gauge, since the numbers don't make much sense.
That's the girlfriend. Pfft, I ain't watched that freaking anime in a long time. What? I forgot her name.
Tanjiro, in the span of several weeks, was sent on 4 missions: the Swamp Demon, Muzan, Kyogai, and Rui's family. That's a fuck ton, because if we were to use that as an average, we'd have 4 by 12 by 300, 14,500 demons showing up a year. And considering that the core takes actions reactively, that translates into 14,400 victims bare minimum, 1 for each demon, with an average looking to be easily 30k plus. That's more than a yearly number of homicides in America today, making it near impossible to be the case 100 years ago in Japan. Thus, I'll conclude that because our goodest of boys is the MC and is running with his own squad, he's encountering astonishingly more demons than an average Slayer. Yet we still need to know that average, which for the sake of world building has to be low enough for people not to pay that much attention to. 500 demons a year, max. I don't see it being more than that, and the populace not putting it together over the course of the centuries, making it roughly 1 or 2 demon encounters a year per Slayer. Doesn't sound too bad, giving them plenty of time to move around, train, and apply their skills and practice. However, there is one easily missed dynamic that explains a lot about the current state of demon slaying affairs. See if you can figure it out. Kagaya says that this is the finest team of Hashiras ever assembled, while Sanemi says that the modern Slayers are weakest by far. Interesting. I wonder if those two are a cause and effect situation. In order to become a pillar, one needs to kill 50 regular demons or 1 Kizuki. We all know that the lower moons were dropping like flies, much to the demon daddy's displeasure, but it couldn't have been that often, so there has to be at least 3 or 4 Hashiras who got their rank by grinding, killing off demons at a much higher rate than normal. On top of that, they don't stop and likely further increase the average hunting results on account of them getting stronger and more experienced, which leaves even fewer demons for an average slayer to encounter. No shit, the quality of the generic swordsman is going down, because Hashiras are basically stealing all the XP points from their fellow slayers. Still, that doesn't explain why these guys make rookie mistakes during their collective training.
That sounds like a skill issue to me. If you mad about Hashiras taking all the loot, do something about it. That's how I see it. Otherwise, sit in the back and keep tearing up and whining like a little baby.
Actually, that might simultaneously explain and contradict a particular point. Endurance. It's the Slayer's bread and butter, since not only do they have to be active throughout the entirety of the night, but they also have to cover a lot of ground, given how there's only a few hundred of them and almost 400,000 square kilometers of Japan. They either are not traveling enough due to pillars doing all the work for them, resulting in their lack of endurance, or because Hashiras killed all the demons, they have to Saitama around the area to find one, making their low endurance somewhat improbable. What's more concrete is their sword skills. They should be present regardless, since they were supposed to be trained by someone before the final selection and they had to pass it, likely encountering a demon or two. Right, I do need to remember to talk about the final selection from the point of view of how many slayers, not contestants, die and how many new ones join every year. Let me show you a few clips to emphasize what I mean.
はい、死んだ。
隊が
They close their eyes mid-combat, have zero reflexes, as well as no fall and recovery game. How are they supposed to kill a bloodthirsty demon is beyond me. Like,
you might as well go ahead and pack up and be a civilian, because this is not the thing that you should be pursuing after. Bro is closing his eyes mid-combat. He's practicing self-deletion where he stands. Go ahead and pick up the hat, put on the collar, gang. Flip some patties. That might be the best line of work for you, because some Hashiras are definitely showing why they need to be in this job.
Come on, bro. You really gotta be scared shitless of a Hashira, but be totally cool with a monster who likely still has human remains all over their body? Of course not. You'd be shaking in your boots, unable to save yourself, let alone somebody else. Huh. Now that I said that, I think back to the schmuck from Mount Nadagumo and can't help but admit at least he had confidence. Yeah, he behaved like a dick, wanted to steal all the glory, but you can't deny that thinking I'd win yields better results in battle than shivering your timbers. I understand the fear of someone who can borderline teleport behind your back without you noticing, yet if you compare this to being caught in a life or death combat where a single wrong move will result in your painful demise, it's not that bad. What are you afraid of? A few bruises? Yelling? They must have fought demons by now, and judging by their skills it wasn't a stomp, so they should know what an actual danger is and what's at stake. Again, I compare it to the scouts training. Cadets who didn't even kill titans before, just saw them, had a much greater mental fortitude and performed better overall.
I agree. The scouts, okay? The scouts, mentally, they had it together way more than the demon slayers. And I'd argue that the scouts were way more traumatized than the demon slayers. Big naked monster people walking around, killing everybody, destroying everything. He lifts somebody mama up and eat them right, man, stop. And even the higher class people that's in the same unit as you still got fucked up in the missions. I think Hashiras had more success rates than all of the scout captains.
Because they've already been through hell. There is no way these people are just random civilians who one day decided to slay demons.
They already been through the fire, so when they come out like gold, we can't be surprised. Scouts will look at regular demon slayers and be like, they not like us. They not like us.
No, their family, loved ones, and or they themselves suffered a demon attack which led them to getting their balls in a row, training hard, and becoming a slayer. That's not a trivial task, as
Yes, and see, that's where you can insert the Hashiras, because the Hashiras are the equivalent to the scouts that got traumatized and destroyed mentally and even fucked up a little bit physically and became who they are.
we've seen many examples of people who folded and gave up on fighting demons, becoming either supporters or the ones being supported. Totally get that, but
Exactly. See, a lot of those demon slayers at the low ranks, they're not supposed to be there. Like I said, bro, you might as well go ahead, pick up a collar, pick up a hat. This ain't for you, buddy. Pick up a broom or a mop or something. Be useful in some form or fashion, just like some people that understood that this was not their line of work.
please don't tell me that those who decided to stay on the front lines are as soft as wet noodles and can handle the stress of being trained. Although, there is an argument to be made about the methods they use and how discouraging it is to see a Hashira or a fellow slayer like Tanjiro move at superhuman speeds as if their fuel tank never runs empty.
It sounds like a skill issue, gang. You telling me you losing motivation because you see that dude doing far better than you? If anything, I would look at that person like Tanjiro and be like, oh, he's the standard. I gotta reach whatever he's at. And that'd give me motivation. What I look like in a do or die situation, trying to be like, oh my gosh, he's so great. And oh crap, my head. He's so great and so good. Oh my God, I never reached his level. No, I got that dog in me. I gotta reach his level by any means necessary. Whether I gotta break my body, break my mind, whatever I gotta do, bro. But again, they not like us. They not like us.
That's 100% an oversight, since I haven't seen these guys use breathing at all, which makes me think that they don't even know the basics, let alone the advanced stuff. If you remember techniques like total concentration constant from season 1, Kana over here has a cookie for you, because I'm not sure whether this concept was forgotten or that we should assume that these guys are using it. If not, I can see why they're so far behind, as this ever-positive rain of sunshine might as well be running on a mix of Cuban coffee, Red Bull and crack cocaine with how much boost total concentration constant provides. Seriously dude, the whole premise of the arc was to unlock the mark by raising blood pressure, oxygen and all that, which is exactly what breathing is supposed to do. Why are you not teaching it? What, you all collectively ran out of brain juice by the time you had this event conceived? Fucking hell, of course these guys are useless, because not only are they deprived of practice by the top dogs stealing all the kills, but they also have no awareness, let alone understanding of arguably the most important tool in the Slayer's arsenal.
Okay. I gotta give him some grace here, because if that is true, that would definitely contribute to why they are garbage. They lack the proper training, they lack the proper basics, all while the same person that's supposed to be teaching them these things is not teaching them these things, and unfortunately it's making them have a skill issue. There's so many avenues you could take when it comes to this topic. That's why when I state my opinion, I don't always want to look at it just from one lens. I want to look at it from 4 other lenses, if that's even possible. In this case, it's possible because on one end you could be like, okay, that's a skill issue, but on another end you could be like, okay, yeah, it's a skill issue, but the Hashiras, the people that's supposed to be training them, are contributing to that skill issue. So it's like, it's not like they doing everything needed, possible, necessary, like knowing the breathing techniques and having the proper basics and training, and they still fucking suck. So I can't really blame them fully for their lack of competence on the battlefield.
Now, just like I said earlier, we need to talk about the final selection in order to continue our pursuit of numbers. Sorry, I don't mean to subject you to such violence, but that's your compensation. How many Slayers die and how many new ones join every year? There is a surprising lack of answers for this question, as I swear it was a biannual exam, yet there is no real info on its frequency. What we do know is that only a few contestants survived the ordeal, making the influx of new Slayers rather limited. How is that a thing when we constantly see them die in big batches? Well, those must be extremely rare occurrences, because in order to replenish the casualties from Mount Nadaguma alone, you'd need at least 4 final selections. Last time I checked, there was no evidence of the core growing or shrinking in numbers. Post-production Mike is here. There is a scene right after the final selection where Kaguya says that the number of his children has increased. I'm not sure whether he meant right this moment or in general, due to the discrepancy in translation between sub, dub and manga itself. To me, it seems like he meant a one-time increase, hence why I assumed the headcount to be more or less stagnant, resulting in this little equation. The total slayers this year equals total last year plus the final selection survivors minus their casualties, where the survivals and casualties have to be close numerically to satisfy the established plot. What does that mean? Simple. If you increase the amount of slayers dying, you have to increase the amount of slayers coming in order for their total to stay relatively the same, which means also increasing the frequency of final selections. Remember how I said that there has to be no more than 500 demons attacking each year? How many candidates will that result? Not a lot, given that demons are quite successful in killing regular people with a few exceptions. That suggests only 1, maybe 2 selections a year, resulting in a dozen or so newbies, which, as we concluded, means roughly the same amount of yearly casualties. So, if we have 300 or so slayers total, this is what an average year of them lost and gained would look like. You must be asking yourself, why the hell do we need all this? To somewhat confirm the amount of active slayers I was speculating. Cause think about it, if we increase their total to 999, which is the upper limit of what Urokodaki told us, we have to change all the other numbers following this logic. More slayers means less demons killed per slayer, which results in a decrease in skill, giving rise to deaths in both core members and civilians, leading to a break of lore where we can't have too many final selections done in a year, nor too many regular people dying to prevent the demon threat from being a common knowledge. In addition, this further confirms that you can't have that many demons out there, because that will require more slayers or them being much stronger, which we know isn't the case. Speaking of which, did you ever stop to think that Sabito killed more people than he saved? I know it's a crazy idea, but hear me out. If we apply a similar logic, he basically prevented natural selection from doing its job, resulting in a lot of underqualified people becoming slayers. And what happens when your carry feeds an enemy one? Nothing good. These unprepared warriors would have been sent to kill demons and save people, only to fail, prolonging the bloody rampage and even making its source stronger. I'm not saying that you should let people around you die, but when saving them now results more casualties later, I made a whole video about it. Lastly, we need to address the elephant in the room. Half the information I used is not canon. Manga has neither the Hashira meeting nor Sanemi outright calling everyone weak. Boom, video invalidated, opinion rejected, and so on and so forth. However, in my defense, there's not much info to begin with, and even in the source material, generic slayers are doing jack shit. Still no breathing, not killing demons, but a whole lot of dying, and dying again. There is no way the core that existed for centuries would have such an incompetent body with only a few people actually doing their job. Wait, that's exactly how everything works. No, slayers die when they're killed, so realistically, their organization would cease to exist if 90% of their employees couldn't adequately perform. Moreover, they have a ranking system, which implies that all slayers aren't equal and should be assigned missions based on what they currently can handle, meaning that the higher level slayers would be expected to get more demons killed, while the lower ones have more time to better themselves. Cause there's no way a dude straight out of a selection would go on to fight 4 demons in a month Tanjiro style.
Yeah, ain't no way. That's not happening, buddy.
It's just mathematically implausible given the provided world building, so let's bring it all together to answer the overarching question of this video. How does the Demon Slayer core still has plenty of live members? The first answer is from the established plot perspective. The strong become stronger and weak become weaker. Demons are a scarce resource in this case. Whoever gets to them before everyone else and survives gets to improve, increasing their chance of doing it again.
First come, first serve.
The regular swordsman, who by some miracle passed the exam, can barely find an opponent to better themselves, which leads to an overall skill decreasing, especially if we consider that the top of the charts are too busy to properly train anyone.
See, and this is why I gave them the benefit of the doubt, because I'm like, again, it's like 2 roads with 1 destination.
The second possible answer would be grounded in reality and be more boring, because it will include all the proper ways of how to run this establishment. A solid chain of command, reconnaissance, and all the other stuff I've talked about a lot. Hashiras will not be wasting their time looking around for random quests. Instead, they'll be situated at the center of their respective area to focus on increasing the strength of themselves and their unit, leaving only to perform their duties at the HQ or to slay a particularly nasty demon. To that end, all demon sightings, whether through scouting or gossip, will be analyzed by a dedicated team and assigned to an appropriate rank. This way, all slayers will be organized, all will have time to train, and more importantly, the corps will grow in both quantity and quality. It won't be as effective at producing the most powerful swordsman in the least amount of time, but it will be sustainable without that much risk of losing most of your headcount due to incompetence. It was I, Mahis, pretending to be CEO into the microphone. Have a great—
Let me know what y'all think about this video in the comment section and give me y'all thoughts and opinions on this topic, on this matter. Tell me, what do you think? Oh, and we playing some Blue Protocol, the new version of Blue Protocol that just dropped literally a couple hours ago. I'm gonna record that for y'all, edit that up, post it sometime this week or next, I don't know, alongside Demon Slayer. And until the next time, I'll see y'all in the next video. Shalom.
Rose petals on the floor. The one from my dreams, and you're with me right now. Mi corazón te quiero. Right here and now, I'll give you a taste. Snake princess, I'll be your king.